welcome to another episode of the Every Arkansan Podcast. I'm Drew Davis, and this week, special treat, can't give you his real name. We've got the Little Rock Batman here to share his story of offering hope on the streets of Little Rock. Well, welcome the Little Rock Batman to the podcast. This is a first for us.
Yeah, thank you.
Having someone with a masked identity. So let's start off. Tell us a little bit about your secret self, your other persona.
Yeah, I'm from Little Rock, Arkansas. I grew up here. I love the city. It's an interesting city. It's kind of unusual, but I love it.
So how in the world did you connect this other you, the you on your regular daily life, with Batman, of all things?
Well, yeah, it was kind of a number of things. Growing up, I was always attracted to stories and stuff, movies and stories, and just seeing, I don't know, the idea of a hero, I guess, has always been really interesting to me. When I was little, I wanted to grow up to be a lifeguard, which is kind of cool. I was a lifeguard for a minute. Yeah, but yeah, it was a number of things. And then finally, I was sitting in my car, through the radio, you just constantly like negative things, harder things. And then it was 2016. It was reports of another shooting in Little Rock. And it was just like, man, I don't know. It was a moment that I just like couldn't just like accept it, I guess. I felt sad and angry and afraid and all these different emotions. And then I was like, I wish he just got unexpected good news every once in a while, or like unexpected, just something awesome. And I was like, I think I'm going to dress up as Batman and walk around town, which is kind of, not a natural next step, but that was my next step.
That was your next step.
So
to each his own, right?
Yeah.
So what was it like that first time that you put on the costume and you stepped out of the car somewhere?
It was honestly a lot like it is every time. I sat in the car for like 10 minutes before, starting to sweat and get really nervous. Yeah, a big thing of it is that you can't look like you're nervous in it because you're like kind of in your underwear, You have to just wear it confidently, I guess. And I was insanely nervous, as I am every time. But yeah, I just went out there and it was really special. It was cool.
Well, where did you go that first time?
The very first time I went to the Heights. I decided to start off slow,
Fairly safe area.
Yeah.
Because I know that it's not always been a good experience stepping out. You've had a few incidences where people weren't really sure what to think about you.
Yeah. And that's, that's relatively normal. Pretty much every time there's somebody who's really not sure about it. But for the most part, it's been super positive. Yeah, it's interesting. It's like, it's not easy to ask for help, I guess. It's not really easy to admit, like, you might be sad or you might be like hungry, you might be homeless and needing something. And, we drive by somebody on the side of the road with a bucket or asking for something all the time. And we usually just drive right by, but we don't think about like, that's a person that's had to humble themselves to the point that they're standing, on the side of the road asking for help. So what's interesting is the Batman stuff kind of makes it like humorous enough, or like it puts me on a level that in a way is like honoring them. It's hard to explain. It's almost like I'm your Batman servant. I'm not just a guy that's like here to help you, but I'm kind of like you in a way. You know what I mean? I'm kind of like a performer or like a homeless person or something. I'm out of the norm in a way, and I'm here on your level now to like be with you. You know what I mean? It's less. I don't know. It's hard to explain. It's good.
So what's it like? Because we've seen the viral videos of Batman showing up to the kid at the hospital, or just your Instagram feed that's kind of become a big deal here in Arkansas. What's it like when you get out there? Because it's you could encounter anyone. You could encounter the small kid. You could encounter the homeless man. You could encounter the businessman. What is it like for them, and does it bring people closer together? What does it do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there's always somebody who's really scared. There's always a little kid that starts to cry, which I understand. Um,
I don't have a mask, and children cry around me
Well,
sometimes.
you get used to it. Yeah, it's a leveling field, I guess. It puts everybody on the same level. Like a kid is super excited because there's Batman. The businessman, like you mentioned, is really excited because he watched Batman as a kid, and the homeless man also is really excited because maybe he had a Batman lunchbox a long time ago. You know what I mean? It puts everybody in the same, like, oh man, Batman, and everyone's like crowding around together. It's like get a picture or just see me or something. And it's funny. It's really cool. It happens every time. People like look and they look away right away, and they slowly look again because they're like, you're afraid you're gonna see something dangerous or something weird. So you look away immediately, and then you like have this glimmer of hope, like maybe this is something kind of cool. And then they're always nervous when they walk up to me that I'm gonna be like, for $10 you can look at Batman, but it's like not about money. And then you see like this relief go across them, you know what I mean? So it's all these different stages, and they leave smiling because it's like that dude was just Batman for no reason, you know what I mean?
So what's probably the craziest reception you've ever received showing up?
Well, I walked into a haircut place and people like reached for their guns. They didn't pull them out, but they did reach for them, so that was weird. But you live and you learn. Yeah, all different things. Tears, excitement. People often ask for my number and whatnot. But, Batman's a married man, people. Batman's a married man. But, yeah, it's good. It's good.
Now, does your wife think you're completely insane for doing this, or is she supportive?
Yeah, she's supportive. She really is. I think it takes a special person to just be okay with that kind of thing, and she is that. She is. She goes with me and takes pictures a lot. So
now, in doing this, you've also kind of built your own little Justice League here in
yeah.
Little Rock. So
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that, about some of the other people that have kind of been inspired or jumped out there in the same way.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, there's like a community of superhero loving people, and I don't know, it's really neat. I think it allows people to express themselves in a different way. It's all different types of people that do the like cosplay thing, I guess. And I never really considered myself like a cosplayer. I just like wanted to just dress up as Batman. I don't know, maybe that is cosplay. I don't know. But yeah, it's neat because a lot of people have never done like any kind of service thing before, so it gives people an opportunity to serve in a way that like suits them and suits their unique personality. And yeah, it's an unusual thing, but it's a good thing. It's neat.
So you've got Robin,
Mm-hmm.
and who else is out there?
There's Batgirl of Little Rock Boy Wonder is Robin. Those are the two that are like with me like exclusively, the Bat fan. Then there's Arkansas Black Panther, Arkansas Logan. There's a few guys running around. Iron Man. I think Iron Man might have been like kind of doing it before, but I didn't know about him before. But yeah, there's a few guys. It's pretty.
Those eccentric billionaires.
I know. Billionaires, man.
Which helps us because we know there's only a few billionaires in the state. So
down.
Figuring out who your real identity is.
Yeah. Well, if you're a billionaire, you could just fly in every time too, so it might not be state. It's tough.
So, what are you looking at next? What are you really looking for the future of this?
I always think about like just a kid, like a child that's just really downtrodden, I suppose, that I can really uplift by doing that. And that honestly is always the future for me. It's not necessarily like grand steps to a grander thing. I just want to I just know somewhere there's a kid that like seeing Batman is gonna like just really mean a lot to them. Really, I don't know. I was at the Dream Center doing a thing, and there was like question time, and question time is always chaos. I'm always like, question time, because every time they say where's Robin, and it's like, did you not hear me answer the other kid's question? But one little kid said, how can I be Batman like you? And like everybody laughed, and I was like, oh man, like I don't know, it was profound because that's kind of like the goal is to make people want to be inspired in a way. And I like kind of knelt down and I was like, you can choose to be Batman every day. Like, you know, you can, I don't know, I said something really profound. I can't think about it right now. But yeah, it was just a really special thing. And yeah, that's the goal. That's the dream, I guess. It's just another child.
And I think that's an important thing to kind of land on with a lot of people. A lot of people look at it, well, I've got to solve this great problem, and chasing after our God given dream and going for something isn't always about solving this giant task, but it's about that one, about being in the moment, being there for that one child or that one adult or whoever it might be, and just impacting their life.
Yeah.
So, in looking at this, I mean, if someone is just like out there and they're like, I mean, I want to be part of something like this. I mean, what was your kind of starting story? I mean, did you know I want to be Batman? Was that kind of core to who you were, or did you want to be one of those other eccentric billionaires?
Yeah, not the billionaire. No, don't really care for that. I did this once before years ago in one of the Batman movie premieres. It was actually the premiere where there was the shooting. I was at a different theater, but yeah. So I like wore the a Batman suit then. It was pretty. It was like a trash bat. But I really saw the reaction from people there. That it's like, oh man, like Batman, that's so crazy. So for me, it was like, I think that's what I fell back on because I knew, in that setting anyway, just randomly seeing Batman just really like uplifted people in a way that was, it's really silly if you look at it on paper. I am not oblivious to that fact, but you just kind of got to be there, you know. And I think for me, the big thing was just deciding to. It's different for everybody. Not everybody wants a microscope on them, and I don't necessarily want a microscope on me, but I'm able. It's not me, I guess. That's where it's different. It's like that's why my identity is a secret. I'm like putting on this armor, and I'm just stepping out. And I think that can look different for a lot of people. There's a lot of different ways you can serve people. This worked well for me because, again, I had seen the reaction to Batman, and then it's not really me. You know, if it were me, I would. That's why I feel kind of awkward right now, because I'm like halfway me. But yeah, it's like it is. It's like an armor.
But with this, kind of your heart for how does this tie in with your faith?
I think we get, especially in a church setting, caught up in numbers all the time. You know, it's always about like growing this and that. It's not always about that, but I'm afraid that I'm always afraid about like the little guy in the corner, I guess, that gets overlooked, you know. And if I were on a stage or something, I'm speaking to masses, and I'm not trying to down anybody on stage, but I don't think that's where I belong. I think I belong on the ground in a way, you know, and I need to be able to maneuver between the little guys. You know what I mean? Yeah, I need to be able to see individuals, and I think that Batman lets me do that.
One of the overarching lures of any of these superheroes is that there's kind of two types. There's this came from another planet, and there's this homeborn. Something happened to them that kind of challenged them to step up into a position. So in your case, it's the story of losing parents and seeing that in front of you and that movement. How does that kind of play into your story?
If we're just talking about the character of Batman in general, I think the thing that drew me in was the fact that he was human. You know, if I could change anything about Batman's story, I would change the millionaire aspect, you know, because I think what's so strong about him is that there's like no powers. It's just like this human drive to want to do something better. You know what I mean? And that was a big part of that's what solidified my Batman thing as not just like a one and done thing, because right after I went out for the first time, I started getting super sick, and like 2 weeks or so, I lost like 30 pounds or so. And it was this whole long thing. We couldn't figure out what it was, and it turns out I have ulcerative colitis, which is similar to like Crohn's disease. So that was this huge thing. I was super skinny and anemic, and really I was just dissolving all the time. But I was still trying to wear my bat suit and go out there, and I'm like, my skin tight bat suit is like kind of baggy. And it's just the pain. It's like I was able to feel and see pain in a way I never really had before in terms of just illness. You hear somebody has cancer, and you're like, oh, that's so sad. But it's like somebody told me that their dad died of cancer while I was sick, and I just started crying because it's like, oh man, I understood real like disease for the first time, I guess. You know what I mean? And it is. This is kind of dark, but not like super dark. But I was like in the shower, like not able to stand in the shower. I was laying in the shower, and I like your brain. Everything in your brain is designed to like keep you alive. But something in my brain was like, it's okay. Like I accepted death in a strange way, and that let me look back on my life in another way. And I was like, man, I had like the end of life looking back regret thing. And I was like, man, I wish I wasn't so hard on myself. Like, I wish I just did the things that I felt like I should do, and just, I wish I just did that. So yeah, I managed to recover. I recovered really miraculously well, and built myself back up. I've gained like 50 pounds since the 30 pounds I lost, so 20 pounds extra. But it's something I deal with all the time with inflammation in my body. It's all tied, so I always have to think about it and be careful, and I have to keep my exercise going to keep myself at a certain point. It's like a science, but all that to say that like connected me to that character even more, that human drive in the midst of insurmountable odds, I suppose.
I think that's one thing that everyone kind of needs to understand, and that's one of the things I appreciated about it being Batman versus someone else, is it's within our power as humans, without any special ability or skill or money or whatever, to impact one person's life, to impact someone that we cross paths with, whether it's random or intentional or whatever. And that's one thing to me that kind of is cool about this story. So, just in just getting back to the character, who was the best Batman in the movies, in your opinion?
That's such a complicated question. So, in addition to being a Batman fan, I'm very much a movie fan. So I'm a big believer in having to like accept a character within his universe, I guess. So in his own way, like Michael Keaton was like a perfect Batman because that was the Tim Burton verse, like Batman. You know what I mean? And Christian Bale, I just like caught such a good like raw Bruce Wayne. People always judge The Dark Knight Rises because he was kind of weak there, but 1 and 2 were so good. Yeah, I don't know. Wasn't a huge fan. Honestly, though, George Clooney could have been a great Batman. It was just a terrible movie. But I think he's a great Bruce Wayne. I don't know. My personal favorite, I'd say, is Christian Bale.
Yeah. And I think it's so cool because everyone's got one. I mean, I'm definitely a Michael Keaton fan. That was that. I was at that perfect age when it all came
out. Those movies are so good.
But it's kind of in this character, anyone can be a Batman to someone.
Yeah.
And it's what they need at that moment in time.
Definitely.
So, but you're out there. What's the best way that someone can kind of keep track of you here in Little Rock?
Yeah, well, you can follow me on Instagram, the Little Rock Batman on Instagram. And if you ever want to help me out, I do a lot of like homeless outreach kind of stuff. And I'm like in a bat suit, not really able to turn my head. So the more help with that, the better. People can help me carry stuff. And I don't hear a lot. So people are like, hey, this person said something to you. I need like a squad with me. It's not just Batman.
Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for just getting out there and making that difference. Just one child at a time, one homeless guy at a time, one businessman at a time. Just encouraging them and doing your part.
Thank you.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Every Arkansan podcast. The Little Rock Batman is not your typical person that you would think of that's making a difference in Arkansas, but he had a dream. He's chasing after his God-given dream. And something as little as putting on a costume is bringing hope and inspiration to the people on the streets of Arkansas. We hope you enjoyed.